What's up, guys? Jake here with JakesGotHerps, not to confuse the herpes. Herpes is nasty, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about using tubs for snakes and answer a question that I recently had. Hopefully this video isn't too shaky for you. My phone screen is completely destroyed, so it's really tough to see what I'm actually recording at that time. But regardless, so somebody asked me in my one-eyed snake video what tubs I was using, and now I used 3 of these tubs for my 3 largest snakes, my retic, which you saw, my boa, which is in the top one, you'll see him here in a minute, and my carpet python. Now these tubs are called HDX tubs. They're from Home Depot. You can get them year-round, unlike the Iris big Christmas tree boxes you can only get at certain stores at certain times of the year. You can get this from Home Depot any time of the year. It's a $24 tub, and it's 21.3 inches in width and 45.8 inches in length. So it's a pretty big tub, not quite as big as the Christmas tree boxes. Those are like a solid 4x2, which is pretty nice. But yeah, this is definitely a serviceable tub if you want to use something for a bigger snake. Now, a lot of people get very hostile towards people who keep reptiles in tubs, and I actually currently keep every single animal I own, at least the ones here with me, in tubs. And I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about that. I think most people by now kind of understand the rationale behind using it, but if you don't, you just want, a video to go back to if somebody asks you, why to use that, then maybe this is a good video for that, just to explain why I use it and, the rationale behind it. So, first of all, you have to consider space to cost. I don't know if there's an optimal ratio for that. Obviously, you want the most space for the least cost possible. When you're dealing with lots of animals, that get really expensive. It's a $24 enclosure, and it's not quite 4x2, but it's a pretty nice size enclosure for relatively low cost. If you were to get a glass aquarium for that's the same size, it would cost you several $100s. So that's one reason for using it, is obviously space and cost. Another is the heat and humidity. Now, if you guys have dealt with any boas or pythons, you know that they do require higher humidity than the average American household has. And with a tub, you can custom drill holes to make your own ventilation. So if you're keeping like a rainbow boa, you want minimal amount of ventilation to keep a lot of humidity in, keep it near 100%. You can do that, keep your rainbow boa nice and healthy. If you got like a boa or carpet python, you want like reasonably high humidity, you can drill holes to suit those needs as well. So that's a really nice thing about it. And the heat as well. I noticed with the plastic bins, when you put a heat mat under one side, it really has a better gradient than like a glass aquarium would. I've noticed with a glass aquarium, when you put your heat mat under it, you'll get your hot spot right where the heat mat is, but the rest of the enclosure will essentially be like room temperature. There's not too much of a gradient. And also the air temperature within the tank will be a lot higher when you use a plastic bin versus a glass aquarium. All the heat's just going to escape out the top, and it's going to be essentially room temperature within the cage itself. And that also is nice for when the snake's moving around. They'll feel a lot more comfortable when they actually can move around and stay really warm. They're not touching any cold surfaces or anything like with a glass aquarium. And also cleaning is a big deal. Now, if you're someone like me, you've had mites in the past, you've had disease that have been pretty bad. I've had I'll make a video about this later, but a lot of people wonder what happened to a lot of my animals, and I actually had a pretty nasty thing happen, and pretty nasty disease go through my collection called IBD, which is pretty bad. But with this, you can keep it really clean. You can monitor for any problems, and cleaning it is a lot easier. And if it's easier to clean something, you'll be more likely to do it. I've noticed that a lot. Things that are easy to clean, you'll be more likely to do it. So if this gets nasty, it's not a big deal for me to just go dump it out and then get some F10, spray it down, disinfect it, and make it nice and clean for my animals. Because I just don't like the stress about messy enclosures or anything like that. So that's another reason for keeping your reptiles in tubs. Also, visibility. Now, you won't have as much visibility for your animal, but the animals can sometimes get stressed if they see too much around them, especially if your glass aquariums are in rooms where a lot of stuff is happening. Now, snakes don't generally have the best eyesight, but they are thigmotactic, which means they like to move around the outside of things. So, like, for example, they always want their body like touching their surroundings. So like a ball python's really just going to stick to like a termite mound to feel nice and secure. And same with like rodents. Rodents don't really like to go right in the middle of the open. They like to go around, feel nice and secure. So when your snake's moving around the outside of its enclosure, if it can see the outside and see things moving around, it's going to get more stressed. Now, this affects some animals more so than others. I've noticed things like, ball pythons and blood pythons that are really like ground-dwelling animals that don't move a whole lot. Definitely seem to get affected more by stress than like my boa would be, but that's something else to think about. And yeah, so that's basically the main reasons for using tubs for snakes. You have to remember certain countries actually have guidelines that you have to meet to keep animals, and I'll actually pull them up here for you guys. But essentially what you need to keep a snake or keep any reptile really is they need to be free from hunger and thirst. So they need to be fed well and kept nice and hydrated. They need to be kept free from discomfort, from injury, from pain, anything like that. And they need to be free from like being really stressed. And basically, with the tub, you can meet all of those needs. Your snakes can live long, happy lives, can breed, can readily do that. Now, if you're like me though, just the basic bare minimum isn't quite enough. And once I move out, and I'm actually allowed to keep reptiles, that's another thing. They're very nice for keeping things, on the down low. People aren't going to go snooping through your bins, and people won't know if you're not supposed to have reptiles, or you have people around that don't like reptiles. They're a lot more incognito. But if you're like me, you really like building nice natural enclosures. That's one of the most fun parts about keeping animals, is building the enclosure. This isn't enough for me. I get really the itch to want to build nice enclosures, and maybe that's just the crabs. Like, I don't know, dude. But yeah, so once I move in a couple years, I'm done with college and I can move somewhere where I can build nice big natural enclosures. That's definitely what I'll aim to do, especially with things like my alligator, with tortoises and turtles and stuff. Maybe not so much snakes, but that's kind of my goals for the future. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you learned a little something. And if you still disagree with me, let me know why. I definitely understand using vivariums and big nice enclosures as well. It's something I want to get back to eventually, but for now I think this is very good, more than adequate for my animals. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys later. Peace.